Good day, as you know, I am Kaylin and today's training session is all about importing employees. So I'm going to show you how to do this. If you've obviously got a list of employees that you need to import, batch employees, or obviously if you perhaps initially setting up your system, you need to obviously import those employees into CS Time. Now the easiest is always if you head on over to our docs website, it's docs.cstime.com, and you then browse down to the importing data employees section. So here you'll see we've got the layout of what we need for importing employees. Now I'm just going to show you in my user module. I've got a list of employees. We're going to import a few guys. Yeah, I'm not going to do too many, but obviously depending on how many you have to import, you can set that up. Now there's two different ways that you can do this as well. You can either do it in Notepad, or you can do it then in Excel and configure it and just save it as a CSV. So I'm going to just quickly show you how you can do that. So I've opened up Excel, and then I'm also going to open up my docs website, because I can never remember what the layout needs to be, so it's easier to just quickly reference back here. So if we take a look at this, you'll see at the top that is what your TXT should look like. It also falls in line with the format at the bottom here, so whether you're going to save it from Excel in a CSV, or then whether you're going to just do it in Notepad and type it out with those commas, it'll still be the same format at the bottom here. So the first field needs to be the record type. In this case we're going to be importing employees, so the record type is going to be E. So in our first column we're going to put in a E. The second one, which is second field, which is our column B in Excel, is going to be the site name. So if you do have multiple sites and you want these employees to be imported into a specific site, you can specify that. Otherwise, if you not phased about that, you only have one site, simply leave that blank. Your third one will be your employee number, so that would be whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one would be your pay number. So if there is a pay number for VIP or Pastel or MYOB, whatever pay package you've got, and it is different to your employee number, you can specify that pay number. Now generally you can quickly see if you do use pay numbers by simply changing on another employee if you already have employees in CS Time. Okay, so I'm going to just leave that blank. The next one is your card number. So if there is a card number that you need to assign to that employee, let's just say card number 10, you can fill that in. You don't have to fill that in as well. You can obviously just specify that afterwards. You then also, just remember with Excel, you'll see now as I tab to the next one, it actually took away the zeros. So that's a formatting thing in Excel. So just make sure, if you need the zeros in front, that your format of that column is actually correct there. I'm not actually going to import this file, so I'm not going to worry too much about it, just for the sake of it looking good. Let's make it card number 1000. We've got our first name then, so we can call this let's say Shirley is our first name, and the last name will be then let's just say Hendrik. There you go. Okay, so that's our last name. You can then fill in field. So we are busy now with field 8, which is our hire date. So that'll be then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just to show you what's happening there. Hire date. So if you want to specify the hire date, you'll see all the fields that you don't have to fill in have got this optional displayed here, so you don't have to put those in unless you do want to. So if you're not worried about hire date, you can put that in. Let's just say this person was employed the 1st of January. You can specify their shifts. So if you do have shifts configured in your system already and you just importing another batch of employees, you can already go and specify which shift they should be on. Please ensure that this shift here, this is the shift code, so please ensure that this shift code is actually correct, that it would actually assign the correct shift. If you're not sure about that shift, rather just leave it blank and you can go and select their shift in CS Time. Okay, then you've got then field 10s. You can specify if you're using any classifications like company, branch, department, any of those. You can go and specify those in the following fields. You can go this up to work groups there. You can then also in field 19, so you'll have to just go and go and count which is field 19 for the ID number. You can also put in your work email, home, termination date, if you need to import any terminated employees, there is an occasion that you would like to do that sometimes. You can also do that, access rights, and then also the payroll shift start date you can put in. So I'm keeping this pretty simple there, just showing you the first piece. This is the most common stuff with perhaps classifications, that you would import. If you do specify classification here, again, and if you've got them configured in your configuration module, please make sure that this is spelled the same way. If there is any difference, with a description or so, it'll actually then import it as a additional classification. So it'll create that classification. So even if you do have new classifications perhaps that this guy is in and you haven't configured it in CS Time, you can simply fill it in here and it'll create that classification type in CS Time for you there. Okay, so once you've actually filled in all your employees, so you've got a ton of employees here, you can go File, Save As, and then you can go and specify where you want to save it. And when you go and specify where to save it, make sure that at the bottom here you'll see by default it's the XLSX, or then if you're having older versions it'll just be XLS. Make sure that when you save it as a CSV in order for it to put the commas in. Okay, so I've already got one that has been set up with some employees. I'm going to show you the other way quickly, just how it looks. So I'm not going to save that, and let us go and open up our employee.txt. So I've created a txt file with some employees in here. I've got the email address in at the end. I've got some ID numbers and hire dates and all that filled in there. So in Notepad, if you don't have Excel, you can then go and specify all the details. Again, just follow the format that is in the docs.cstime.com website. So you can just then fill that in, file, save it as a txt, and all is happy. So now we need to actually go and import that. So let's go to our user module. We're going to simply close the screen for now, and then go to our File menu, Import, and select Employees. You'll see there are other options as well there for importing clockings and all that. We'll address those in videos to come, where I'll just show you how those formats and layouts are there and how to actually import that. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is obviously go and select the file. I've simply saved it on my E drive for easy reference. Go and select the employee. You're going to always select a generic format if you're using the TXT or then the CSV file. Make sure that generic format is selected. If you're not too sure about what you should select, again, just take a look in on the Docs website. It'll also give you instructions on how to actually import that there. Okay, so you've got that then, generic format. Just leave the cases mixed. So this is if everything needs to be uppercase or lowercase or mixed. Generally your TXT file or your CSV is already correct as you want that, so you can just leave that mixed. You can also select which specific fields do you want to import. Again, generally your TXT and your CSV is already correct with the information that you would like to import, but if there is something that you don't want to, you can just unselect that. So I'm going to leave everything as selected, and let's click on Start. It'll import the employees. And if we go and take a look now in our Browse Employee screen, you'll see we've got some employees here. If we simply go and change on it, we can just check if the pay number's been filled in. Let's just go and take a look here. I had, let's just see, some pay number in there. I don't think I had any classifications. I might have had something set up there. I had a hire date in there, so that's been set to 14 years there. And then let's just go and check one of our other guys here. All that information should be in, so employee numbers there, first name, last name, again pay numbers there. Let's see, employment should be there. I had that in there. Let's go and see if there was anything else. I had an email address in there for this guy. So there is some emails. Obviously you can go and make any changes that are needed as well, if there are any for that. So it's pretty easy to import employees. Nothing too major there. It's obviously nice, if you've got 1 or 2 employees, you're more than likely going to just add it in the system. But if there is a batch of employees, even if you've got CS Time and perhaps you're expanding now and you're including other branches, you could simply then just export all the names from your payroll package, put them in the format that's needed for CS Time and import that information. It's a lot less work than having to type everything out there. With ID numbers, just another little note, with ID numbers, just like with the pay numbers, make sure that the format is actually correct in Excel. Excel likes to change a few things there. So you'll see, especially with ID numbers, you'll get like plus signs and then a whole lot of numbers and that, which don't make sense because it's not his ID number at all. So just make sure that your formatting in Excel is correct. I think text would be the one that you would select, just to that it doesn't go and throw those things out. So yes, you can also, if you do happen to export a TXT from your payroll package, you can obviously import that into Excel, make the necessary changes, and then just save it as a CSV again. So that's importing employees. Pretty simple, easy to do. So yes, you can, if you do get stuck, please pop on over to our docs website. That's docs.cstime.com, and there you'll find a whole lot of information there. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.